tell you my problems, meditating my silence. But I keep pushing my pen, rotating my stylus. Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls go follow. All the fake fans gon' pile up. I need peace to borrow, get that shit.
All right, you guys, so next story up. This story, you know, I even as awful as this person acted on television, even as awful as her and her husband both have acted in interviews outside of the show that they were on, I still feel bad. I still feel bad, excuse me, I have the hiccups. I still feel bad for Latosha Scott. Okay? That's just something in me, you guys. I don't like to see these kind of things happen to people, especially when it was something that she wanted so bad. The fact that she was a solo artist that was going after her dreams. I didn't know that it was a gospel dream, but it was a dream to sing by herself. And she got that wish and it did not work out. Now, what many of us will say is, even though I do feel bad for Latosha, I feel like she is directly the reason, her and her husband especially, are the direct reasons why her album did not do well. They're saying that her album did, 608, less than 700 copies. Okay, I think I've read 679, 689, 636. I've read a few different numbers. It's landing somewhere between 650 and 700, you guys. That is an awful debut. You ain't even got to be in the music business to know that that's an awful debut. Even in today's day and age where, you know, nobody is really buying albums like that. That is, and they said they call that pure album sales, which means that I believe that means that, you know, somebody that's just straight out buying her album to listen. No streams and all of that other stuff. Okay. And that's bad. Like, I'm sure that Motown Gospel spent more money than that just putting that album out. That won't even cover the studio time and the distribution and the marketing and everything else that it took to put the news out that she was doing this album. Now, they got all the marketing that they probably wish they didn't get on the show, Queens of R&B, you know, the SWV and Escape show. That really focused on Latosha stealing this money from her sister, $30,000, and then all of the fallout that came from that. Okay, and most people are not going to support, especially you call yourself a gospel artist, a Christian who's, you know, moving this way, these kind of practices. Then you want your fans to support you in that way. You know, they're not going to do that. It was bad publicity for her and her album, bad publicity for her relationship, her marriage. I mean, it was just one thing after the next. It was a horrible rollout. If anything, they should have probably held on to that rollout until, you know, but I think that Motown Gospel might have been hoping that even with bad publicity, because they say that, you know, all publicity is good publicity, even bad publicity. But I think Motown Gospel found out the hard way that, yeah, bad publicity when you're trying to launch a damn gospel album, that ain't the publicity that you want or need, you know. And then she did it to herself, talking about she was in a damn open relationship. Girl, now we know that the church is not going to be supporting somebody that has an open relationship. Like, these things that you saying you do, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't have an open relationship. I mean, whatever you and your spouse decide to do, whatever work for y'all, that's what y'all do. That's y'all business. But please don't put that out there. Because Sister Beverly is not going to be in support of that. Okay, Brother Jones, the deacon, yeah, they not trying to hear that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a mess for them to even decide to put out the album with all of that turmoil that was going on. But I mean, I guess they were just like, we got to do what we got to do. We didn't spend all this money trying to, you know, get it done. And now it's done. What, we going to not make nothing? What's 680? Let's see. Let me get my calculator out, y'all. What's 680s? How much albums cost now? We gonna say about $12. Okay, we'll give it $12. Okay, 680 times about 12. We done made $8,160. You put all that together, give it to the studio. Y'all, that's terrible. That is awful. I'm embarrassed for her. I know she's got to be embarrassed. That has had to have been the worst 6 weeks of her life, that show. I mean, it was just one thing after the next. None of it good. And then, you know, the proof is in the pudding. People who's not fucking with you like that, Latosha, you need to make some decisions. Okay? And we ain't gonna never tell you to leave your husband. At least I'm not. I'm not gonna never tell her to do something like that. But that husband is this is directly correlated. So your husband with his antics, you with your antics, put it together, that's $8,160 worth of foolishness. I mean, shout out to the people that was supporting her. Okay, she do have about 680, about, you know, somewhere around 700 fans that still see it for her. But they got to be kicking themselves, child. That's awful. That's embarrassing. I don't know what Latosha gonna do, but some changes need to be made. What y'all think sis need to do over there? Y'all put it all below.
Right back tomorrow. Somehow all the fans go bravo. Smile so much to hide my sorrows. Faith is shaky in vibrato.
All right, you guys, next story up. So this is really not no full story. Young Miami. Mama named her Carisha. What's her last name, y'all? I feel like I've told you guys before, so I don't have to keep telling you. But anyway, Young Miami has said that she is done with Diddy. Okay, P. Diddy. Emphasis on the P, because y'all was trying to see if he was the one that was peeing on her. She said no, he ain't the one. Okay, that there's plenty other people that she done had sex with. She grown. Okay, and that she does actually watch a lot of porn, and on the porns they do a lot of peeing on it. I mean, it depends on what your category is. I mean, if you looking for that kind of thing, you can find it. But you know, all the porn shows, the porn movies, they ain't just peeing on it. I mean, at least that's what I believe. Not that Roxanne spends a lot of time on Pornhub. Anyway, she said that, so she was in an interview with The Cut, and she said that her and Diddy are still friends, but they are not a couple anymore, whatever you want to call it. She says she didn't call it a couple. She let everybody else call it whatever they want to call it. But she says that she and Diddy, even though they were hanging pretty tough at one time, they were together every day. You know, he was supporting her, she was supporting him. He probably was supporting her a little bit more than she was supporting him anyway. And, you know, but finally she's decided to let that go, which, I mean, look, the girl is grown, like she has already said, and she can decide what she want her relationships to look like. I just didn't want her to get caught up, okay? And we felt like it was happening. I felt like she was falling in love with Diddy. And, you know, many of us who are my age, we know that Diddy, you know, Diddy is a study. And I don't know what the shit Diddy be doing over there, but them women love him some Diddy. He don't get rid of none of the women. And you know, so maybe she escaped, maybe she got out, you know, I don't know, but yeah, I was kind of happy to see that she's decided to move on, because I think she's a pretty girl, and I was just like, you could find somebody that really likes you, and, you know, not saying that he didn't like her, but he liked a whole bunch of other people too, and I was like, you could really find somebody who will be exclusive to you. Okay, it's probably harder in Hollywood, harder in music and all of that, but it's not impossible. And so I would like that for her. But I like that for everybody. You know, I want everybody to find a relationship that they feel, you know, is reciprocal in the way that they treat each other, they can be happy in, you know, that they can trust people in. I want that for everybody. So, you know, I would like that for her as well. Okay, not that he was doing anything behind her back, because she obviously knew everything that was going on. She just decided that's what she didn't want. So, I mean, you know what? Hey, folks grown, child. Like I said, Roxanne don't be worried too much about what people do. I let everybody do what the hell they want to do with their life. Okay, I'm just on top of the blogs. I just kind of give y'all my opinion, but it don't change the facts. If people live their life the way they want to, you know. So, yeah, that's what's going on with Carisha. Y'all will be happy to know that She and P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, okay, Sean John, Sean Combs, Puffy, Puff, whatever you decide. Oh, Brother Love, can't forget that one. Whatever you guys decide, they have called it quits.
I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down.
All right, you guys. So next story. So I had said that I wasn't going to try to talk too much about Tyrese on my channel too much anymore, because I had already decided that Tyrese had some mental challenges. Okay, and recently he was on, was it on Sway? I believe it was Sway's show on satellite radio on Sirius Radio. On the Sway show, whatever the name of the damn show is, you guys, he told us a while back how he would have episodes that he's had mental breaks, that he had medication that he had been prescribed. And, you know, if you've ever been on antidepressants or anything like that, then you guys know that sometimes it takes a few tries at different dosages, different medications to find the one that is going to work for you. And he has had issues with medication that's been prescribed to him that has made him, you know, be even more manic. I don't know if he said that he had bipolarism, but he's definitely been diagnosed with something and has to take medication for it. Okay. So, I mean, I had already figured it when he was hitting us all the time back when he was having the issues with the first wife and the first child support case. And you know, all of that. And he was on social media crying and doing all of that. I had already decided back then that something a little bit more serious than just Tyrese getting on our nerves on social media. I figured it was something a little bit more serious. So I've been trying to give that boy some space. I try. Okay. I don't know what to say about Tyrese. Tyrese still got issues, you guys. Now, this most recent one. Now, y'all remember when he got married, just out the blue. He was with that girl, and then they went and snuck off and got married. Okay. And he made a big deal about it. She was a lawyer. She was smart. Or was she a nurse or a lawyer? Anyway, he made a big deal how smart she was and all this. And they had their big house out here. And he was involved in the politics and all of the things that was going on in Atlanta. And, you know, he had big money, you know, big huge property. And, you know, had the damn transformer from the movie, like, in his house. And all of this, you know, he got a Benihana's and a Starbucks on his property. I'm not sure if that's here in Atlanta or if that's back in LA, but Tyrese got money and he got his wife and they had a baby. And then shortly after they had the baby, they broke up. Okay. As a matter of fact, she had said that he put her out, had made her and the baby homeless, kicked them both out of the house, changed the locks. Sis couldn't get back in the house. Okay. And so they've been fighting pretty much ever since they broke up, and they've been going back and forth to court for some time now. Okay. So just recently he had a court date at the Fulton County Courthouse out here in Atlanta. And Tyrese had took it amongst himself to get on social media. And well, I tell you what, he was very upset. And he said, damn it, listen, he want all his single fathers out there that's, you know, struggling with this child support situation. He want them all to meet him down there at the courthouse so that they can have prayer before he goes in and talks to the racist judge. He said that there was a racist judge that was presiding over his case that he wanted removed. Okay. This judge's name was, let me get it. Kevin Farmer. Okay. He said that Kevin Farmer was full of shit and that Kevin Farmer has proven that he's biased towards him and even his ex-wife or his ex-wife. I think they're divorced now. Said that back in the judge's chambers that the judge had even called his ex-wife a bitch in front of Tyrese's lawyer. And, you know, he was like, I ain't never even called the bitch a bitch. He said he ain't never called her a bitch. I was just like, the way you be acting, I beg to differ. Okay, you ain't been caught on camera calling this lady a bitch, but yeah, he said he ain't never did that, and that judge was racist and all this and all this, and wanted to get the judge put off the case. And all I know is it got to probably take a whole lot to be Tyrese's lawyer. Like, I'm sure that lawyer probably is just like, but yeah, so he wanted the single fathers, and not only them, but Mr. Ben Crump and Martin Luther King III to also meet him down there, you know, so that they can get this whole child support situation taken care of, because Tyrese couldn't understand why he needed to pay this lady $10,000 a month, okay, that he was ordered back in August of last year to pay her $10,000 a month. Actually, $10,690, I believe, is the exact number a month. He was just like, she got it. Why I got to be paying all this money if this lady already got it? Okay. Now, he had told the courts back when they went in August that he wasn't paying that. Okay. And they told him that if he didn't pay it, he was in contempt of court. Okay. They say that he's only been paying a couple of $1,000s a month instead of the 10,000 plus that he was ordered to pay. So that was the reason why we was going back to court. Okay. So yeah, he was in contempt of court. They also said that he had lied when he went to court originally back in, was it in August, or it might have even been before that when they first broke up. He said that he was in financial ruin, could not afford any type of child support, that he didn't have any money. Then they found out that he had $2 million plus that he had made that year from his last Fast and Furious movie. Okay, and other movies and things that he had been doing. Tyrese makes good money. Fast and Furious, none of them do anything else other than Fast and Furious. You don't see none of them on anything else because they make their money from that. You don't see Ludacris doing nothing else. You don't see Vin Diesel doing nothing else. Michelle Rodriguez, is that her name? You don't see her doing much else, or whatever her name, the Rodriguez girl. None of them, because they make and he's not even the main person on Fast and Furious, and he makes good money from that. That's why he want that shit to continue on, because he ain't really got to do nothing else. Do a movie every few years, and they got a new one coming. So don't feel bad. $10,000 is $120,000 a year. Tyrese, when he can afford that, okay. And the judge thought the same when he went to court. So even after all of that, the people ain't made it down there. I don't know if Mr. Crump or Mr. King, if they didn't make it, if they didn't get the notice, they didn't get the notification soon enough. They did not go down there and hold hands with their brother and have a prayer before he went in there. And so, you know, maybe he wasn't, he didn't have on the full armor of God when he walked up in there, because, honey, the judge was just like, yeah, nigga, sit it on down. Let me tell you what you got to pay. Said he had to pay his ex-wife, Samantha Lee, back child support of $250,000, okay? And also her $400,000 in lawyer's fees. Now, they have a 4-year-old child. Their child is young. So Mr. Tyrese Gibson can count on having to pay child support for quite some time. I know his other child is, I'm sure, in the teens now. Okay. But this one is a new child. And so he's going to, you know, that poor lady gonna have to be dealing with Tyrese for quite some time. Okay. Which is too bad. But, yeah, the judge, he ain't had much patience for Tyrese. And, you know, I guess if he don't pay this time, they're gonna throw his ass in jail. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you guys, I try not to talk about Tyrese because I do recognize that he has some issues, you know. But when he did that video trying to get Ben Crump, and I said, child, these people got real problems. I'm not saying that your shit ain't real, but they got real problems out there. Okay? Motherfuckers will make all this money and then go all out of their way not to pay for their kids that they laid down and made. Okay, and you was all gung-ho for this woman at one point. Okay, now she the worst, right? Now you don't want to pay. Talking about she got it. So what? You got it too, and that's half your child, so you can pay for it. I don't be feeling bad for when stuff like this happen. That's it on that, y'all. Yeah, Tyrese, he not only paying the 5, shout out to Martin, but he paying the 10.
Running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running.
All right, guys, next story up. Okay, Soulja Boy. Mama named him DeAndre Way. He was ordered to pay $235,900 in punitive damages to his ex-girlfriend, Kayla Myers. Now, apparently, Kayla was hired on as an employee, but then they became, they started seeing each other shortly after. And she filed an assault case back in 2019. She's claiming that he held her against her will for 6 hours in his Agora Hills home, that while she was held there, that he beat her, he kicked her, that he pistol whipped her, and that he forced her to take a shower in front of like him and another man. Okay. So during those 6 hours that she was there, held against her will, you know, he was, I don't know, child. I don't know what is going on with Soulja Boy. This is not surprising. I mean, Nia Riley had already told us that he kicked her in her stomach while she was pregnant. That was the reason why she lost her baby. And before that, she even complained about him abusing her. And y'all saw on Celebrity, what was the name of that damn show that they go on? I never watched the show, but of course I do remember the clips when she was screaming and Jessica Dime had to go in there and try to help the girl and all of that. And that Jessica Dime had already threatened to beat his ass. Yeah, I 100% believe that Soulja Boy did the things that she said. Okay, now he has another case with another woman, where he also allegedly kept her captive. Now, this one, he kept her for 3 days and repeatedly raped her. She was actually the employee that turned into the love interest, not the first case that I was talking about. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, apparently he was in a relationship with that girl, but he still held her against her will for 3 days and raped her like over and over. That lawsuit is still going. This lawsuit, $235,900 in punitive damages, is a completely separate account. But very telling, right? I mean, we got 3 different women telling a very similar story. Yes, I do believe it. He's lucky that he is not in jail. Okay. That second case that I told you guys about, that person wants a jury trial. So I think that person, we don't know her name, but she is hoping that he actually gets jail time. She wasn't suing. It wasn't a civil, I don't want to get this wrong, but I don't think she was suing for money. I think she's suing to get his ass in jail. Okay. So we'll see how this turns out for Soulja Boy, but yeah, not surprising at all. He is a woman beater. They've told us about it in the past, and now the chicken's coming home to roost. We'll see in that second case that I told you guys about if he does get any jail time. I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay. So the first part of this video was all about health and illness, and then the second part is all about these lawsuits, child. This next case, well, this is not quite a case yet, but it will be. So designer, mama named him Sidney Royale Selby III. You guys remember the rapper Designer, the one that we said sounded exactly like Future, that had panda, 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 I got broads in Atlanta. You guys remember Designer. He was big, 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 and then all of a sudden we didn't hear anything else about him. Well, he is still out there. He is still performing. He's still doing rap, okay? Apparently he was over in Tokyo, had a show out there, and while he was there, I guess the Tokyo women did not find Designer appealing, and he was not able to get any ass as he would have liked while he was there, okay? And that Designer was quite horny when it was time to leave Tokyo to make it back to the United States. So designer, with this conundrum that he has found himself in, got onto the airplane and decided to relieve himself in first class, and was masturbating. I was just like, what? He said that he found a flight attendant that he felt was attractive, and he was hoping that that flight attendant was with it, and decided to try it out while he was sitting up there, and the flight attendant didn't like it. Okay. They had told him numerous times to put that shit away, and at no point did he do so. So they decided to, well, they didn't land the plane. They still let the plane go as usual, but they did walk designer back to his homeboys that was sitting in coach, and sat that ass back there, was like, make sure that nigga and that thing stay in the seat. Okay. Don't get up. We don't want to see a dick around here. No lotion. They say when he got up and when they walked him back there, he had a jug of Vaseline. Child, I'm telling you, it was like he was fucked up. Oh my God, it's not funny. I mean, the story is crazy, but then once you realize that, okay, there is a real problem here. Okay, now designer, after he done came down from whatever the fuck he was on when he got up on that plane, by the time he got off the plane, he realized that he was tripping. Okay. He did put out a statement. This is called getting ahead of the story. He put out a statement before we even knew what was going on, and said, you know what? He hasn't been right in the head recently. And that he has decided after this little stunt on the plane that he's going to go to rehab. So good for him for that. Okay. When you recognize that you have a problem, I feel sometimes that you are more successful because you have admitted that you have a problem. And now what do we do to correct this? So good for him for admitting, you know, what he did was wrong and all. But, you know, of course, that still doesn't get rid of the action that he did. So they do have a case that they have decided to charge him, I think, indecent exposure and some other charges. But the more serious part of this is the fact that he is getting the treatment that he needs, you guys. But can you imagine it? I don't know what's going on these planes, child, because, you know, I mean, we used to just get on the plane, sit the fuck down, go where we going, land, and get off the plane. Now you see people fighting on the plane. You know, we had old boy just a couple of weeks ago, you know, screaming and yelling about a crying baby, which, trust me, I have been on plenty of flights that have had a crying baby. Okay. It can be very unnerving, but what do? You don't act like the damn baby because you so upset. It's not like this is a grown person that we can quiet. So now the baby crying and screaming, and so are you. Grow the fuck up. Okay. So even though that man, you know, we've all been there and been quite unnerved and irritated by a crying baby it's just something that you have to deal with. The fact that he want to scream and yell just like that, yeah, that nigga need to charge him with something. Okay, I'm not mad. But yeah, I don't know what's going on in these planes now. It's ridiculous. Do y'all not want to fly from point A to point B? Because they gonna ban your ass from the planes. And you don't realize how much you gonna need a plane until your ass can't get on one. So act like you got some damn sense. Sit your motherfucking ass in that seat and go where you going and get off. All this y'all got going on, child. Stop it.
Down too long. Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things.
Last story up, you guys. The charges were dropped against Alec Baldwin. You guys know, on the set of Rust, that is the low budget movie that Alec Baldwin actually is a producer on. Remember, he shot and killed accidentally the director for the show. I'm sorry, for the movie. And he always said that it was because the gun was faulty. People couldn't understand how a revolver is faulty, because usually a revolver means that it only shoots if you pull the trigger. Okay? It is not an automatic weapon. It is not a semi-automatic weapon. So the mechanisms in a revolver means that it has to have the pressure pulled on it to engage it and shoot the gun. Okay. And, you know, everybody was just like, revolvers just don't go off by themselves. So we have been hearing a lot about the story, you know, that they ended up giving the director's husband like producer credit on the movie. And then, you know, when the charges finally came down, they decided to charge him, I believe, with involuntary manslaughter, him and the armorer. They both were found, you know, that they were responsible. So they had charged them both. But now they're saying that after they did an autopsy of the gun, they found that maybe it was faulty and that they need to do more forensics on this gun and everything. Now, the court case is coming up in May, the beginning of May. I don't think I wrote down the date, but it's at the beginning of May. They don't have much time to really be trying to go through the forensics of this gun. So they have decided to just drop the charges against Alec Baldwin. Now, they're saying that this does not absolve Mr. Baldwin of criminal culpability, and that they can later on, if they decide, they can still decide to bring the charges back on him and try him the way that they were going to. But as of right now, they're just going to take him off, and it's just going to be the armorer. And they are going to go from there, which I was actually surprised when they did charge him with involuntary manslaughter, because I kept on saying, like, when is it the responsibility of a person who's acting to be, you know, knowing that this is a hot gun, that this is a live weapon that has live rounds in there? Like, that is the reason why you have an armorer on the set to do, that's responsible for those kind of things. So, and I don't know if any actor is really checking the gun and doing all of that the way that the prosecutor was trying to make it seem. So the good news, at least if you are Alec Baldwin, is now you are not going to go to jail for involuntarily killing this woman. Okay. But the whole, that I can't believe that they're actually still going on with that movie. It seems like it's such a dark, I mean, it just has such a bad omen over the whole thing that they just don't just throw it all away. But I mean, I guess maybe they're also hoping that, you know, just from the publicity of the trial and, I mean, of the case, that it will bring, you know, looky-loos to the movie. I mean, it will, for sure. But yeah, I was surprised to see that they were still even going forward with that movie. There's so much tragedy around it, you guys. But yeah, that's it. I know Alec Baldwin is happy. Do you guys believe that he should have been found responsible for that death, or did you guys agree?
My soul, I'm uncomfortable with my heart. I'm uncomfortable with myself. I'm uncomfortable with my heart. I'm uncomfortable with my thoughts. I'm uncomfortable with my
Roxstars. That's it. I'm gonna get on off of here. All right, y'all missed the pictures. It ain't no pictures in these videos, but the next one, let me just get through the end of this month and then I'll bring the pictures back. I gotta get my videos out, you guys. That is it, though. I'm gonna get on off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure to thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe, and make sure you come.
Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running from schemes.
Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.